Do you know what you should do?
What should I do, Aidan?
Well, you should tell our audience what we're doing here.
What are we doing here?
We're trying to work it out. We don't really know. The world's gone a little bit crazy, as we all know. And we're trying to see what's going on. And a lot of people are telling us what we should and shouldn't do. So we decided to tell you what you should do. Which is?
I don't know. What should you do?
I don't know.
Wear a mask?
Come here, well, maybe. I don't know.
Do you like people telling you what to do?
No, I find it extremely uncomfortable when people do that. Unless they're right. But usually if they're right, they would never come from the place of you know what you should do. Because they probably know that you're a sovereign being and there's a strength inside you and you already know your own answers.
Okay.
So they probably go, hey, do you know what might be a nice idea? And you would feel right rather than someone going, here's my idea. Take my idea and make it your own. How do we get into this position?
How did we get into this position?
Yeah, I don't mean physically, you know.
Don't bring it down.
Don't mention last night.
Okay.
Or tonight, tomorrow. When?
So why are we here?
We're here because we had a situation where they brought in all these regulations and rules and lockdowns, and I didn't like it, and you didn't like it. We knew each other from ages ago.
Yeah, we met each other on holidays when I was 12 in Portugal, but you don't remember me.
I didn't do anything.
Because you fancied someone with bigger boobs, but look at my boobs now.
I know.
They grew.
If I could turn back time. By the way, when she was 12, I was 14, just to clarify. So we met when we were kids, and later on we were in similar circles. We knew each other. We were always kind of friendly. We were Facebook friends. I stayed in your house in London.
Yeah, when you were doing some stand-up comedy.
Stand-up comedy. You came to my show and you pretended to laugh, and that was.
I did laugh.
You did.
At you. So anyway, you were posting stuff on Facebook. I agreed with it.
And I suppose what happened is we have a common enemy, or else we became someone's common enemy, because they say that if you've got a common enemy, you make friends. That's how you make allies, if you've got a common enemy. So I put a post up. I was in a hotel and they asked, I came to Amsterdam because there's no regulations here, or there were none at the time. There was no masks, and they said you don't have to wear them. It's not a great idea, not good for your health. In fact, it might make things worse. So I said, well, that sounds reasonable to me. So I came over here and I was staying in a hotel. I won't mention it because of our millions of viewers. Somebody might get
don't mention the brand.
Yeah, right. I mean, we'll get sued. So I'm in the hotel and I said it right at the start. I said, guys, what about masks? And they said, that's not a rule here. That's fine. And I went, okay, great. So I stayed for a month, and near the end of the time, they brought in new rules and they said you need to wear a mask. And I said, no thanks. And they got upset like that, and they said, well, you have to do it at the breakfast table. And I said, it's cool, I don't need breakfast. And then they said you have to do it at the entrance, and I was like, well, I can't get to my room without passing the entrance, so how can I get to my room? And they said you have to pass the entrance, and I was like, but I can't because I can't wear the mask, like. And they said, well, but you have to. And I was like, well,
but why can't you just wear a mask?
Well, I mean I could put it on my face, but it's my home. I want to go to I want to be comfortable. I want to be healthy. And it would be stressful for me to put on a mask entering my home, and I might not be healthy. So I said to them, I said, can you confirm that it's healthy? Can you show me all the data you're relying upon to make any such claim that I should wear a mask? Because if there is evidence, of course, if it's going to help someone else, of course, if it's going to protect your life or my life, then I'll do it. So I asked them for the data, and they didn't have any. None. Like nothing. They had nothing. And I said, hang on, you want me to put a mask on my face even though it could risk my life for someone else's? Well, it doesn't. Great, put that in writing. Put it in writing, and I will happily do it. But they wouldn't put it in writing, so I wouldn't wear the mask. And then I wrote a funny email in response to their email, and when I shared it on Facebook, people went crazy. Like, there was 400 comments, and not all of them were telling me how funny and attractive I am. People went crazy, batshit crazy. They went mad. There were people who were going bananas, and that's when it kicked off for me. And
well, I saw that, and I sent you a message and went, "Hey, are we singing from the same hymn sheet here? Because I think all this is bullshit."
What do you mean bullshit, mate? What are you trying to say?
Oh, I just think we've got 40 years of peer-reviewed data that said that masks don't work. And you're told that at the
40
start.
years.
And then suddenly it's like, oh, but just put a mask on. I'm like, why? I don't like wearing them. They stress me out. They give me anxiety. Why? I don't want to breathe in my own... Ugh.
Breathe in your own yuck, bacteria.
Yeah. Is that what they call it?
Oh, well, you breathe in oxygen and then you breathe out carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
And if you collect that on the mask, it's like a little petri dish of dirt.
Mm.
And I'm pretty sure now, I wouldn't be a scientist. I know a lot of people think
You
I'm
look
not a
like
doctor, but I'm not a doctor. But do you know what you should do?
Neither is Bill Gates.
But yeah, well, come on now, Sir Bill Gates. They should knight him. They should definitely knight him
He's
for his.
he's not English, so I don't think you can unite it.
I think you can because Bono's not English.
Anyway, yeah, but you know, Irish English, it's kind of the same thing, isn't it?
was
that another oppressor by any chance?
800 years of vaccines. Edit. Cut.
So I'm a COVID survivor. I had COVID back in March.
Right.
Yeah.
How is that now?
Well, nobody believed me, so I mean that's interesting.
Are you clean now?
Well, I mean, get a bit closer and I'm coughing you and we'll see what happens. But yeah, so I got it at the start of March, just before the UK went into lockdown. I felt awful. I was tired. I'd had a headache. One day I was
tired as in what? Tired as in you went to bed early, or tired as in give us a bit
Well,
more?
I was doing a play and I got like this really bad headache and I felt tired, but I thought it was kind of just the stress of the fact that I was about to do a play. It was the night before. I did the play. I was playing Michael Collins' sister. Remember him? Fought for some Irish freedom.
Michael Collins fought for,
yeah.
and you were in England. They were recording it in England, and you were Michael Collins' sister.
Yeah, not recording it. It was a play.
Why did you particularly want that role, or how did that work?
I just, had an interest in Irish history. The people who fought for our freedom, and
Like us.
yeah.
Saving Ireland. We're exactly
they
the same.
were more badass than we are.
Well,
Shoving a camera in our face and sticking this up on YouTube. Are we badass? Maybe
well, I
not.
told the hotel. I said, as Michael Collins would say, I'm not wearing a mask.
Us little
Thank you
freedom fighters here.
I'll stay in an Airbnb if I have to.
Anyway, back to me.
I know. Mrs. Collins. What's Michael Collins' sister called?
Hanny. Anyway,
Go on,
so
Hanny.
I was playing Hanny Collins in a play in the London Irish Centre. I wasn't feeling great. I just thought I was tired, stressed, and then all of a sudden I lost my sense of smell and taste, and still nobody believed me. And I kept saying, I think I've got COVID. I get bleach up to my nose, and I would go, it's weird. But at the time, it
You're
wasn't.
meant to drink it to get rid of it.
I know, but I just didn't want to go that far yet. So I'm, I'm concerned. I kind of, this is
Were you?
weird.
You were worried?
Yeah, and then I saw on a news channel that this loss of sense of smell and taste was a symptom. So I rang the NHS 111. They told me, no, I didn't have it. Computer says no. And I said, well, you telling me not to self-isolate? And they said, no, you don't need to. And I was like, but I think I've COVID.
They told you had COVID. You thought you had COVID. You lost your sense of smell. You're a little bit worried. You were tired. And then the HSE.
No, the NHS.
NHS, the National Health Services in the United Kingdom, in Britain, Great Britain as they like to call it, told you don't have to do anything, you're grand.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
But I didn't believe them. So I went and isolated
Nobody
anyway.
believed you, and then you
But I
didn't
took
believe
responsibility for my own health and went, something's not right here. I'm seeing on the news this is a symptom. So I isolated for a week. I didn't leave my apartment.
That was very responsible of you.
And yeah, there was points that week where I went, oh shit, like I can't breathe. And you're just like sitting on the sofa. But nobody believed me. So, but also at the same time I was hearing that people were dying in hospital.
Did you see the pictures of the guys in Wuhan falling down on the ground?
Yeah,
just
like
walking
I'd
down
seen
the
all
street?
that. And I went, well, if that's not happened to me, I'm sure I'll be fine. I'll get through this. I did loads of lung clearing exercises from
How'd you do that?
yoga.
Hang on.
Raw honey.
You could save someone's life here. You took raw honey and you did a breathing exercise.
Apple cider vinegar,
Do you know what you should do?
ginger. Do you know what you should do? Try a natural approach to this. Take responsibility for your own health.
So you went to your local health shop and you got yourself a few
No,
healthy
I had
items.
that stuff anyway.
Yeah, look at you.
I know, I'm that kind of
Look at you.
person.
You
Bit
did
of vitamin C, bit of zinc,
You're
bit
probably
of vitamin D.
you're probably vegetarian as well.
I'm actually vegan.
Did you finish your show about Hanny Collins?
No, because my show got cancelled.
Got cancelled.
Yeah.
And is there other work? What happened to your industry? What happened to you in your industry and your industry as a whole?
Well, I'm
As
an
an
artist.
actress.
I'm an actress. My industry got shut down. Like most artists, our industries were shut down. And suddenly, you know, all these plans you have for the year, your career is gone. And that's, I mean, I could do some
What do you
other...
live? So you lost all your jobs, you lost your income, you lost your ability to feed yourself. So how did you survive? Apart from the fact that you're like
Well, I had to take the government
middle
soup.
class,
I mean,
like,
you know.
Mom, can you send me like $8,000?
No,
I need to get some more.
I had to do what all most artists have had to do in the UK is go on universal credit. Something I haven't
universal
been on.
credit. Now what's that?
That's the dole.
The dole. Okay,
dole.
so it's free money.
Yeah.
And where?
Well, it's not
so-
free money. It comes from somewhere.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they just borrowed from a bank, and
It
it
was made up.
probably never needs to get paid back. Like in Ireland, we get the dole, the free money from the government, from I think it was the leprechauns left it there underneath the rainbow, and that's where you get it. So if you ever need money in Ireland, that's a fact.
Maybe I
Do you
should
know
be
what you
back
should
to
do?
Ireland then. Do you know what you should do? Go to Ireland and get the leprechaun
Go down there and
money.
get the free leprechaun money. St. Patrick left it there for us. Okay, now, so your industry collapsed. Now, is that just because of your, ability? Or is that for everyone?
My ability to collapse an entire industry.
Yeah, like
I mean,
did
I'm
you-
a powerful woman, but yeah, of course
Okay.
it is. No, the government shut it down. The theatres were shut down, productions
Theatres.
were shut down, other artists like musicians, concerts are shut
Comedians. I ran a comedy festival in Asia that's gone 10 countries. Boom, 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 boom. Comedy club in Singapore. The Mary Line, Singapore's only full performance venue. I spent 5 years doing it. That's gone, which means all of those artists don't get paid. None of them. All the poetry, the spoken word, the singers, all gone. They get free leprechaun money too. I can't believe it. They have leprechauns in Singapore. Anyway, they get the equivalent of the dole. They do it. And so that's all gone. And in Ireland, I'd sold out gigs, beautiful, well-known comedians. That's gone. So all my ability to make money was gone. And I was sad, actually. I was really down. I was thinking, because I don't know what's going to happen. And at the time, I was wearing a mask. I wore a mask. Okay, I don't know if I did. In Lidl, in the shops. When I went shopping, I put a mask on.
Is this before you had to wear a mask?
This is like in March. I didn't have to, but everybody was saying there was this terrifying thing, and I thought, well, maybe it is terrifying. I didn't know what was going on, so and I was down. So I was like watching Netflix. I was drinking too much at home because you couldn't go out at the time, and I wasn't against anything. I was like, let's stay in, let's fix this thing, and then we did it. Everyone I knew did it. Everyone I knew in Ireland was like every relative. They were all staying to themselves, little walks in the park with one or two people. And then we're still here. 9 months later, we're still here. So we've done all that. We've done all the businesses have collapsed. Thousands of bars, cafes, family-owned businesses are gone, and they're never going to come back. A lot of them won't come back, and that causes poverty and pain and suffering. And some of them might come back, but that's 9 months later. So where's the end?
Well, my view is that if masks and lockdowns if masks worked, then why do we have lockdowns? Like if someone said to me, you wear a mask and it means we won't have a lockdown, I'd probably wear it. I'd probably get really fucking stressed out and anxious and stuff. But if it was for the greater good, no, I probably still wouldn't. But like at the start of this, I was
Do they work? That's the question. Do the masks work?
Get yourself
Do the
comfortable.
mask work
Get
there?
yourself.
Come on,
Do the
come on.
mask work. I don't think the mask work.
She just doesn't want to be shut up. That's it. She represents all of woman. I will speak if I want to speak. It's 2020. Don't give me that look.
Don't be so sexist. So anyway, the woman shall speak, and she'll speak well. I at the start of this, okay, like one of my neighbours started making masks, and I went, oh, maybe if this could help the people who...
Entrepreneurial.
Yeah, she was a designer, mask maker. I gave her money. She gave masks to everybody in our building, and I was like, okay, if that means the people in our shops, because there was that shortage on PPE, we were told they didn't work. And I mean, I had...
Who told? In Britain they said that? Because you were in England.
Yeah, so I'm in England. We were told originally by the Deputy Chief Medical Officer that they didn't work. They could cause more illness. But then again in August, after the mask mandate came in the UK, she turned around, Jenny Harris, you can look this up, and said there is no strong evidence either way about masks working.
That's what they say here in the Netherlands. They say you have to wear a mask now. It's brand new. This is like November rule. But they do say it doesn't actually make a difference. It even says it on the masks. This won't protect you from getting COVID. It's not for protecting you, it's for protecting other people. But where's the evidence? So Jenny
we don't need evidence anymore. I don't think we need... This is what annoys me about this. We seem to not need evidence anymore. It's just people turn around and say, stick your hand in the fire. We've no evidence that it might or might not burn you, but just do it anyway.
But we had it in Ireland. Luke O'Neill, the main advisor, he said, and I quote, "There's no reason to wear a mask for 2 reasons." That's who we're taking advice from. There's no reason to wear a mask for 2 reasons. And then he changed his mind because Dr. Fauci changed his mind. Because Bill Gates and the World Health Organization changed their mind. But there's decades of them saying it does not help.
But also,
and now in May 2020, Britain, Jenny, what's her name, said it. In Ireland, Luke, Dr. Fauci in America. So they've all changed. Does that mean that science itself has changed? And of course it can evolve like we can.
I think that the whole mask thing was just brought in as a marketing tool. It was like, we've scared the life out of these people. We've given them so much fear. How do we get them back in the shops again? Oh, we'll tell them to wear a mask, and it's mask marketing. And look, we can open a whole new industry. So those creatives who can't act anymore or can't play their guitar, they can make masks.
It's like your friend. It's your friend is behind it. She started like selling masks and she's like pushing it. The masks are great, going around elbowing people. Do you hear the masks are going to save us? Would you like one? I'll give 2 for a tenner. 2 for a Pfizer.
2 for a Pfizer. But also, you've got these people wearing masks and they haven't washed the freaking thing since June. You're like, how is going around with a dirty mask in your face effective?
Well,
people don't wear them properly.
It also makes you attractive because it's kind of like, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of hormones can get picked up by another human being, usually from the opposite sex, but I'm sure that it works every way. So the sweat, like my sweat and my mask could be attractive to you. It could it could really turn.
I do not want your mask.
Turn you on. I could get one. We could try it now. Like it's a human experiment.
I'm sorry, I don't find men wearing masks attractive.
But if it's if it hasn't been washed in 6
don't
months,
even put on a gimp mask and think that'll work either.
Oh damn, that was my next move. I don't know about if they work or not, but I do know that so far a lot of people have been wearing them. And if we look at the charts, I used to work in banking many years ago. And we look at charts, and you can, because they say that all the evidence can be put on the chart, as in up until today. So if you looked at, say, Ireland, England, Italy, Austria, Germany, and a bunch of other countries, this information's all out there. You can see when they brought in the masks and made them mandatory. After that, you would think that it should stay the same or go down. Ideally, it would go down, the infections and the deaths. But all of those countries went up dramatically.
But
so after wearing a mask, once it was mandated, infections went up. But this is already known.
But is that because people then stop being cautious, that they went, I'll wear a mask, I won't keep a distance. It's okay if I've got a cold or I might have a symptom of COVID, I've got a mask, I'm not going to give it to someone. It's like if you are so say tomorrow we went out,
Really? Oh my god.
Okay, we won't use that. Say an example, we'll use Anne and Barry. Anne and Barry are out one day and they're both wearing masks. Barry gets COVID. Anne gets contacted by the HSE to say that Barry has tested positive for COVID. But both
just
Anne and
COVID.
Barry,
just COVID.
Nothing else happened, right? But both of them were wearing a mask during that their whole interaction. And Anne says, "Oh, but I wore a mask." The HSE will turn around and say it doesn't make any difference because masks aren't, it's not medical advice it's a political thing, which the World Health Organization have turned around and said.
No, that's on the BBC, that's right. They've said it doesn't, it's political. Why they changed their stance on the reason. So before, you should not wear a mask, and they said you should wear a mask, and then they admitted that that's a political lobbying reason. But that's, so there's not, because there was only one proper report done. As far as I'm
the Danish one.
There's lots of them 10 people. We got 10 people to wear a mask, and turns out that it helps. Yeah, but there's been one proper study, Danish one, with how many people? 6,000
Okay.
6,000 people, I think.
Yeah.
And concluded
that weren't effective.
It wasn't effective.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any difference. Points, I don't know the exact numbers, but in Sweden's not Denmark, but the Sweden numbers are worse than Denmark, and that was used as evidence by people that go, that's terrible because the Denmark have done really, really well, but in Sweden they didn't. But actually Sweden have done better than most countries in Europe. Another reason, they don't wear masks. In fact, if you were a doctor in Sweden, you could lose your job if you wore a mask.
Oh, really?
You could get fired. You could get fired for wearing a mask because it's considered unhealthy and dangerous.
So if you not wearing a mask, do you get people being mean to you?
No. Yes, I was in the bar. Where was I? I was in a bar with my friend. It was just at the start of Ireland when they decided you have to wear a mask. And I went into the bar. I was already in the bar. I was at the bar to buy a drink, and he said I couldn't order a drink there. And I was like, sure, I'll sit down. But he was like, no, you have to wear a mask. Now this was a brand new thing. So I've been to the bar before in Ireland. I know.
Really?
I know how
Are
to
you a
order
drinker,
drinks.
Aidan?
I've had a few pints in my day.
Okay.
But I'm at home in a situation like this in Ireland, and all of a sudden I felt really uncomfortable. I was like, something's going on. And he goes, you have to wear a mask. And well, I don't know what face he made because he was wearing a mask. Right? And I was like, yeah, I don't have one. And I said, but they're not wearing a mask over there. And he goes, oh, that's because they're sitting down. That's because they're sitting down. So let me get this straight. So COVID can't get you if you're sitting down, but it can get you if you're standing up. I was like, I wanted to be nice because I'm sure it's not pleasant for any human being to have to tell another human being to wear a mask. He probably didn't want to have to be in that position. So I was really patient, as I could be, as patient as I could be. And I was like, well, listen, I'm already in here, so can I just sit down? And he was like, no, I'm afraid you'll have to go back out and put on a mask. And I went, let me get this straight. You want me to walk out of here without a mask on, go and get a mask, put it on my face, and then walk back in, and you think that's going to help reduce COVID? And he's like, well, that's the rules. And I go, you think it's going to help COVID if I walk around here and to get it? We can't do that. We can't go back in time. It doesn't work like that. And he goes, you have to wear a mask. And I went, well, actually, I don't. And he goes, what do you mean? And I went, legislation, 5, 2A.
Are you just making this up
no,
to be difficult?
5-2-8.
Are you just trying to be difficult?
No, that's the eyes he gave me. That's his terrified little eyes. He's being difficult. And I just said, are you aware of the legislation? And he goes, well, you have to wear a mask. And I said, no, I don't actually, under article,
Because you don't have to.
You don't have to. I suffer
If you
from
fall
stress.
within the exemptions, you do not have to wear a mask.
I suffer from stress at the very concept of having to wear a mask. I get really upset. If someone says you might have to wear a mask, I start getting stressed. I can do that.
Because that's about as effective as the freaking wearing a cut-up T-shirt wrapped around your face.
But it is. It's not even a proper mask. If you had an N95, it might help. But my dentist said you have to change them like regularly, and you never touch them, and it's like a professional thing. But this is just like little bits of thing. I mean, you can smoke through it. Have you seen?
But have you also seen people pulling down their mask, standing outside having a cigarette, and then they go back in? I'm like, how? How is that good for you?
The Italians used to wear them when they're I went to Italy to see what was going on. Northern Italy's terrible, is it? I went there, had pizza, wine. I was hanging out with a bunch of people in the bars, and I said, guys, why are you wearing it on your elbow?
Yeah.
And they said, oh, you could, in an Italian accent, you can get fined. You can get fined. Pizza, mamma mia. You can get fined. You get fined. And they tell me you get fined for not wearing a mask, so they put it on there. So if a policeman comes, they go, I've got my mask. Like, they're more afraid of looking uncool, the Italians, than they are of...
Well, also, they probably know they don't work.
Well, they're not that afraid. They're just not
like,
afraid.
Well, I don't really have any fear. Like, I'm not...
No fear.
No,
You're fearless.
I'm fearless.
Maybe that's the issue. Maybe you
Gosh,
oh
I
my
coughed.
God.
You okay?
Thank God, get it in my face.
It's not the COVID cough. It's not the COVID cough. Don't worry.
I'm not worried.
But it's also one of the worst things is that, like,
what is the worst thing? Tell me what is.
Well, it's like the people have this thing
Has
that they can
anyone
just
been to you?
interfere in your business the whole time about it. Like, people will go, oh, to me, you don't know if you could get it again. And I'm like, I think I'm immune to this. So I decided, with my industry being shut down, I went off to France to volunteer and help refugees for the month of October.
So you weren't allowed work anymore, so you went to help save the world, to help refugees in France. Whereabouts in France?
I was in Calais.
All right.
And while I was there, despite everybody wearing masks, and I did wear one in France because I just wasn't able to deal with French people screaming at me.
You could have just stopped with French people.
Anyway, I hated it. It stressed me out. But anyway, COVID got into the group of people I was working with. And these were people who were trying to limit your trips to the supermarket. Like, you weren't allowed to socialise with other people, anything.
You did that. You needed a ticket. Sometimes some countries you needed a ticket to go to the shops.
It wasn't that bad.
Okay,
anyway,
good.
COVID gets in. I spent 10 days working with and living with and even sharing a bedroom with someone who had COVID. And I did not get it. And the French health authorities told me I was immune. Stop. The French health authorities told me I was immune. Yet still people will turn around to me going, you don't know if you could get it again. I'm like, 8 months later, I didn't get it again after being surrounded by COVID for 10 days. And I got declared immune by the French health authorities. Is that not enough for you people? Like, what else can I do? Like, I mean, should I
You could
get
put
someone
on a
else?
mask, Sue. You could put on a mask, like.
But I'm immune to this, so I'm not
Yeah,
spreading
but
it.
it's
Why
not-
would I wear a mask?
It's not about you.
It's about what? Protecting
It's
other
about-
people's fear. I
No,
didn't make
protecting
them
other-
scared.
Protecting other people's feelings. They'll feel good if you put on a mask.
Fuck that.
But you don't care how other people think.
I don't care what people think of
what
me.
about-
I've no problem. Like,
what-
people are probably watching this going, oh my God, look at her.
What about
Fuck you
someone's
all.
What about, what about their granny?
But I'm not near their granny.
Yeah, but like they're worried about their grannies.
But
And if
I
you
didn't
put-
make them worry.
No, but if you put on the mask, they won't have to worry anymore.
But that's stupid. Like, I just don't
Listen,
get that reasoning.
Don't be letting reason and rationality get in the way of other people's feelings. That's the problem, you see. Some people just don't care.
I care about the stripping away of rights for no bloody reason. That's what I care about. I
care
can't get
about-
my head around
I
this.
care about stripping too.
And do you know what I care about? I care about when stop. I care that nobody turns around and talks about like improving your health. Like when this first happened.
Vitamin D.
Yeah,
Even the Brits are
I
doing that now.
turned around
Vitamin
to
C.
like friends and family. I was like, okay, everybody, would you take some? These are some of the vitamin supplements that I was taking when I was sick, like this mushroom supplement. You know how to help. Stop laughing at me. And like zinc and vitamin C and vitamin D. And I was like to my parents, you know, take this. Like this can help. Yeah, they did.
Good,
but
good.
then you get other people like, well, I haven't seen my parents since March, and I'm like, but what have you done to help get them healthier? Nothing. They've done nothing. Or have people who go, do you know what? Like, I haven't left my house since March, and you know, the virtue signalers. It's like, I haven't left my house since March. I've had everything delivered. I've only given blowjobs to frontliners at a 2-meter distance. You're like, really, really? But also, I get fucking abused about this.
Even at home, I put a mask on and I take a picture of myself with the mask to put up on Facebook so other people know that I care. That I care. I care.
I'm a virtue signaler.
I mean, I haven't been out myself, but if I was in a car on my own, I'd be wearing a visor and a mask just so other people know that they should also behave properly.
But also, do you know what annoys me, right? So I was in Dublin one day and I'm in Dunnes Stores and I'm not wearing a mask, and I walk in and there's this fat bloke, right, with his mask on, and he's nearly losing his shit. Like, he's nearly giving himself that heart attack plus the obesity because I'm not wearing a mask. I'm going about smelling candles. Like, I look pretty damn healthy. He doesn't look healthy. Well, you know, this is 6 months into it. Why hasn't he fucking lost weight? You know, you're 48% more likely to die of COVID if you're obese. Like, would you not just...
Did you say
like,
this to him?
No, I was standing...
Hey, fatty! Why don't you go on a diet?
No, I stood there and I was standing in Dunn's going, this must have been like what it was like to be a woman in Ireland, like back in the day, to be the fallen woman. Because I could just feel that, you know,
To
that,
be like pregnant outside marriage.
yeah, like
Have
that
someone judge you.
shame that's just ingrained in the
fallen
Irish
woman.
DNA. They just love to
Hang on.
shame you.
So people
like,
have shamed you, and it's men in general, or no? Do you think it's more men?
Mainly, well, men would be more to your face, but the women are probably more behind your back. They just love a bit of shame. Look at her coming home from England to see her parents. Oh my gosh, how dare she? Anyway, I'm going out to see Mammy in a few minutes. Like, they're doing the same thing, but because I live in England, they hate me going to art. Like, come on, I would not put
But
people
maybe,
in danger.
maybe they're not afraid of COVID. Maybe they're just afraid that your accent might spread to their kids. They just don't want... Oh, all right, mate.
I'm just too what? I'm just too posh.
Merry
Is
Christmas.
it like my English tones that have now cracked in?
No, you haven't. You haven't. We don't. We love the English. They're great.
I love
They're
the
great.
English.
They're
I
great.
love London. London's a great place, and they're not.
And-
I think
and
they're
the
more
Queen,
tolerant.
And the Queen and the royal family are doing great as well because they have a long history of caring about humanity. And once again, they're the leaders of protecting human rights by being seen in public with masks on. And I mean, if the royal family are doing it, surely it must be the interest.
Yeah,
of
I mean,
mankind.
like, does that mean that paedophilia is okay?
Well, I mean, Prince Andrew, not all of the royal family are having sex with children all of the time, but I'm glad you brought that up because...
Well, I mean, she
this
was
is how-
what? She
this
was
is gonna
only
help
about
us get
15.
viewers.
Is that okay if you're a grown man to have sex at 15? I don't really think it is, but
Don't look at me.
I wasn't looking at you.
You were
Is
you were
this something
12.
you want to confess?
You were 12 and I was 14.
No,
And-
nothing happened when I was 12 and 14.
And I said no.
But yeah, no, like it's just I just
Just
think
that-
people shouldn't be so interfering in my business. Like I am exempt. I've rung up my doctor and said, can I have a letter about like being exempt? And she's like, yeah, you are. But the NHS policy is not to issue letters of exemption. So I've been like screamed at by airline staff.
Screamed at.
Yeah, they're
Screamed
like,
at. Who?
you're not getting on this flight if you don't put on a mask.
But you're not meant to wear a mask, so what did you tell them that you weren't?
But my doctor won't give me a letter because you don't legally need one.
I can get my friends have letters.
But that's private.
In
That's
Ireland,
private.
that's
So the National Health Service in England, NHS policy is not to issue a letter if you're exempt because you don't legally need to have one.
I can give you one. Do you want one? I'm not a doctor.
No,
but I
you're
can
not a
write-
doctor.
Okay, you have
that
to
would
be
be
a doctor.
fraud.
So
But-
if you
but
I
people-
can say I'm not a
but
doctor,
people
but
just-
Sue doesn't like masks.
So I'm and then you get these airline and they're like, you're not getting on. That's it. You're off the flight. Or you're being screamed at in the middle of the air. How dare you get in this flight? Put on your mask. I'm like, I am not a child. Like I do not need grown adults telling me what to do. It's like I want.
Do you know what you should do?
Do you know what you should do? Just
Come
put
here.
on a mask.
I was on a plane and myself and 4 other people, and none of us wanted to wear masks, so we didn't. And we went onto the plane all the way through the airport, all the way in, talking to the staff. We didn't wear them. We came up to the queue, the plane, put on your mask. Yeah, we'll put them on. Right up into the plane, and we get to the plane, and that's when you have to put them on. And I put on my scarf. And I said, I've got this. And she goes, no, you can't wear a scarf. And I go, I have it on. It's cool. And she goes, no, you need a mask. And I was like, yeah, but the scarf's better than the mask, right? And it's just like not just for my safety, but for other people as well. And one of them kind of smiled because you could see like, but she was still human, you know. And the other one was like, no, you have to. And the fella behind me, he was like a Swiss guy, really smart. He's a pharmacist.
Yeah.
And he thinks it's complete bullshit. He thinks all of it's bullshit. And we went to Sweden, and when we were there, he
Are you going to get to the point here?
I'm trying to get to the point.
Okay. Can you remember?
Yeah, we had to wear masks.
Okay.
We had to wear the masks. And when we got on the plane, he was annoyed. I kind of expected to have to wear one. We wore it on. After the plane took off, I opened a drink. We went to drink. And you don't have to wear it when you're drinking.
Yeah.
So everyone around me, the people beside me took it off. Everyone, there was a kid with snots hanging out. Like she was wiping snots everywhere. She didn't have to have it because she was under a certain age.
Yeah.
And I was like, kids are more likely to spread it, so they say. I doubt it. But anyway, and then, so no one, but there was a Dutch guy beside me, a good looking Dutch guy, Dutch Brad Pitt type character.
Yeah.
And he told me when my nose was sticking out.
Yeah.
He said my nose is sticking out. And I was like, are you scared of my nose? And he wanted me to pull it up. So I pulled it up to make it comfortable, but then I couldn't eat my crisps.
Oh, you were trying to eat crisps
I was
through
trying
a
to
mask.
eat my crisp through the mask.
Do you think this was funny?
I did think it was funny,
Okay.
actually, right? And I left the crisp on a bit of paper on the desk,
Yeah.
and I just left it. He was on the other side, but I was like, for 15 minutes I kept it going. 15 minutes. He must have been freaked out.
What, you like some freaking mime artist going on here?
Yeah. But he's there like with his, and then I go, and I actually said, "Excuse me, sorry,
Was he watching you while this was going
well,
on?
he was pretending not to be, but he was like a bit freaked out. I think. I don't know.
I think he was freaked out that you were being a freak. But anyway, go
And I
on.
was like, excuse me, I was wondering, I'd really like to eat my crisp, but I know that you wanted me to keep my mask on, and I didn't want to upset you. Right? He didn't laugh. He took me seriously. He actually was thanking me. I really appreciate you making the effort. But he goes, no, you don't have to wear the mask when you're eating. And I was like, wow. So it was like an hour and a half flight or something. You don't have to wear it when you're eating. But he really wanted me to wear it fully up. Right, and it's the concept of the madness. I get it. Look, if it's dangerous, if it really is dangerous, and if the masks really help, of course we shouldn't be allowed to eat in the plane. We shouldn't be allowed on the plane. You shouldn't be allowed in it because you're risking lives. But the fact that another 30-year-old man who's healthy, and I got talking to him, his family were healthy, there was nothing wrong with him. He just said the rules are the rules, and it's that madness.
The rules are the rules.
You know, it becomes dangerous. So anyone has anybody been actually mean to you?
Yeah, like, so even the other day when I was coming over here, like I'm walking through Heathrow Airport, I've no mask on, and this pilot comes from behind and starts going, excuse me, where's your mask? And I went, it's in my bag. And he's like, would you put it on? I was like, in a minute. And he gets like, I'm like, fuck off, mate. You've nothing, like, it's nothing to do with you if I'm walking through this airport with no mask on. And like, it's like you said, I get on the plane, what is it, like a 50-minute flight. You're up in the air, everyone's put their masks on. Straight away, they're serving complimentary food and drink on this flight, so everyone's availing of it. But it negates the whole point of people wearing a mask, because you're just taking it off to eat and drink. But yeah, it's like the thing, yesterday I get to Heathrow Airport, no mask on, and I'm walking into Heathrow Airport, and this woman turns around to me and says, do you have a mask? And I said, no, I'm exempt. And then she went, do you have a badge?
Do you have a badge?
Yeah.
What do you mean a badge?
Like, do you
Like
have a badge?
What do you mean, like a Star of David? Or what do you mean? What do you mean, like a badge? What do you mean a badge?
Like, well, she
Explain.
wanted me to be wearing, like, so there's this thing
Happy
that you...
birthday. It's my birthday.
People I hate this word, but lanyard, it's like moist, that they want make you buy this
A moist
lanyard that
lanyard.
has like sunflowers on it, and that you display this thing saying that you're
Well, like
exempt.
a disabled thing. I'm disabled.
Well, like,
Is that
you
what they're
shouldn't
doing?
have to advertise that you have a disability or a hidden disability. Like, it's nobody's business.
They'd be terrible at hide and seek, these people. I'm over here! So we decided we had enough. We decided to save the world. We decided to tell the world, you know what you should do?
Do you know what you should do?
And we decided to go.
We decided to go to Sweden.